Okay, so as far as sharing my faith, when I was in school as an undergraduate, everybody knew that I was a Christian. The faculty members know. I stood up right on the middle of campus and did open air witnessing, just with a Bible in hand. And so times were different back then, but still it was weird to people. And I did that, and I was clearly a believer. I always had a Bible in my book bag, and I read it. It meant a lot to me. And I did a lot of door-to-door witnessing as an undergraduate, then as a graduate student. When I started as an assistant professor, I started sending out a Christmas letter to all the people that I had worked with through the years, all the graduate students that I had worked alongside with, all the professors, and it would just talk about what God had done in my life that past year. Everybody knew I was a Christian, and people have gotten back to me years later who've gotten saved, and they were like, when I got this, we would talk with the other students. Why is he doing this? Why is he sending these letters out? I let it be known. I would hang pictures on the walls in my office that my little kids would make me with little Jesus sayings and stuff. And I remember one professor said to me, I never see you here working at night. And I was an assistant professor. I didn't work evenings. I'd go home for dinner. Now, I had been gone from my house for 12 hours because I left at 6, I came home at 6, and I always lived fairly close to the university, so it wasn't more than a 10-minute drive. But I felt I had to have a family as well, and I urge you, don't trash your family en route to this thing. But I always witnessed, and I always wanted to have a witness, and it was important to me. Watchman Nee, the great Chinese theologian and lover of the Lord, said, if you do not speak up about your Christian witness, nobody will ever know, and they won't hold you accountable. But if you speak up, they're going to hold you accountable for your actions. It's when we speak up that now people start holding us accountable for our actions, and they should. And I would blow it all the time. So I said, I'm sorry, a lot, even to unbelievers, a lot. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I lost my temper on that thing. Some guys would do things in the lab just to egg me on, and sometimes they'd get under my skin and I'd lose my temper and I'd come back to them. And I remember I said to this one guy, I said, look, I'm sorry. The things that they did. So you're working on an explosive compound, right? And so you're just kind of on edge because this thing could detonate. And they stick a vial with dry ice and a cap on it in the hood next to you, and they walk away. And so then in like 30 seconds, pow! And you jump back and you see if you still have your hands, and it was just a little vial with dry ice in it that blew up. That sort of thing just to bother me. And I apologized to them for losing my temper. And one guy said, you're just like us. You're just like us. And I said, that's it. I am just like you. I'm just like you. I believe Jesus is Lord. He's risen from the dead, but I'm just like you. And we would get our solvents in these cans, and we'd go to the stockroom and fill the cans. And every morning I'd come in and all the cans were empty, and I'd take all these cans and bring them to the stockroom, fill them up, and I got tired of doing this. For every day they'd leave them empty, and I'd have to fill them every morning. And one day I didn't fill them. So I'm working away, and a guy comes walking in around 11 a.m. or noontime, and he says, hey, where's the solvents? Hey, you didn't do your job. As if it was my job. And then I apologized to him. I said, I shouldn't have done that. And what it does is it breaks down barriers between you and other people when they see you're just a regular person. But I was always very vocal in my faith. Has it affected my career? Absolutely. Absolutely. My colleagues have never put me up for the National Academy. This was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. I said, hey guys, I've done as much as anybody getting into the academy. You know what one Nobel Prize winner said to me? He says, no, you've done twice as much as people getting into the academy. This was 16 years ago. But you're still not going to get in. And they said it was because I had written a statement that I believed that it's called the what is it called? Well, I mean, the statement goes like this, that we are skeptical of random mutation and natural selection being able to account for the diversity of life. Therefore, further investigation is warranted. Pretty innocuous to me. You're just saying, let's study this thing more. Well, that was then used in the Dover trial in 2005. And they said, well, because you signed that statement, you're never getting in the academy. So, that's hurt me. It has hurt me. And so I'm not in the National Academy. And it's so shocking to people with all that I've done in my career. It's almost like a blemish, not so much on me, but on the academy, because the academy boasts that, everybody agrees on this thing. Yeah, because you're self-selecting. So everybody's going to agree. And when people find out that I'm not in the academy, then they start inquiring. So it's almost like a blemish upon them. And now, it's different. It's like Groucho Marx said, I don't want to be in any society that would have me. And so, it's almost like a joke. So yeah, it has affected my career. There are other positions that I've not gotten because of the bold witness that I've taken, but I'm willing to accept that, because you know what happens? Every time I get turned down for something because of this, God showers blessings upon me. Just showers blessings upon me. I had 2 people from 2 federal agencies that really like me, that work for federal agencies. They told me that I was not getting funded by their agency. They wouldn't even write this in an email. Both of them told me verbally in my office when they came to Houston, they met with me. They said, because of the stance that you've taken on origin of life and because of your bold religious stance, people are trying to cut you out. And you know what God did? I starting companies. And I said, if you want to be able to license this technology, you have to give $750,000 to my research group for research. No, they don't want to give it, but they have to. If you want to license the technology. It's called blackmail. You want the intellectual property, and you got to support my research. And they do. And so I have a few federal grants, but not as many as I could have had. But then God started pouring all this money on me in different ways. God just does this over and over again. So you think it's going to really cut you off. But what God does is he compensates again and again. That's the testimony of my life. So yeah, has it had an effect? It's had an effect. But also what's happened is I've seen so many people come to the Lord. I've seen so many, Savannah might not know the numbers, but it's a lot of young people have met their spouses in my home over lunch, and they come back with their kids for lunch, and the effect that we have had upon people's lives, the prayer we've been able to put into people, and the number of people saved, and the number of people encouraged and built up because of this. I'm telling you, there's people, I go all over the world, and people say, I've had lunch in your home. I don't remember. I don't even remember them. But they've had lunch in my home everywhere I go in the world. And so you leave all of this blessing. All of this blessing goes way beyond a publication, which is this, this pristine sort of thing that sits there and never tells anything about you as a person. And you have all of this impact. And I look back over my life and I say, the richness of what I've been able to place in people's lives and the Bible studies. I've been teaching Bible studies since I was an undergraduate, every week teaching Bible studies since I was an undergraduate. And that I get the opportunity to teach Bible studies and pour insight from the Word of God into the lives of other people. And I pour over the scriptures for the entire week, preparing for that Bible study, saying, Lord, what is the message? What is the message that you want me to get from this passage for these young people? What's the message, Lord? And then place this in their lives and see them walk away with a greater love for the Word of God, a greater love for Jesus Christ. And that's what will last forever.